All right. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast, episode 200 and
45.
nice. And Dr. Trent, where are you coming in from today?
I am coming in from my home office in Woodbury, Minnesota, right outside of St. Paul.
Nice. It's a beautiful part of the country.
Yes, sir.
And
it's
Luke and
warm
I,
here.
super warm, I bet, about 25 degrees.
Yeah, it's a heat wave.
Careful, you'll be growing palm trees soon. But yeah, Luke and I are out here in the beautiful state of Colorado, and this is live from Grand Junction, Colorado, actually. And it's been a year in the making trying to get you on the books with us.
Yeah, well, it's post-COVID now, so I think things are definitely opening up, and I feel like business is kind of coming back to normal. So yeah, a year in the making. I think we tried connecting right before 2020, and I'm happy to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to connect. I think what both you guys are doing for the profession is vital for the future. We have to have more than just a chiropractor voice. We have to have a chiropractic voice, and you guys represent that without a doubt.
Well, thank you for the acknowledgement. We show up, we put on our hat, we put on the gloves, and we go to work, and I think that's one of the things about doing the hustle is we just keep on showing up, staying consistent, and pushing the brand and pushing chiropractic to the top. And, allowing one of the things that's so important that you stand for is subluxation-based chiropractic, and to allow the chiropractors that stand in that position to have free speech with their vernacular and be able to support, the foundation of what chiropractic has been built upon. And I think so many times when you think about like the chiropractic profession, everybody wants to make it theirs, but they don't realize that it's not theirs to make it theirs. It's a profession that was founded way before they got a diploma.
Yeah, I agree. I was just reading through some Joe Strauss books before we hopped on here, and just for a little inspiration. And the profession was built on trying to offer more freedom to people that wanted the freedom of what their choices were in the healthcare arena to getting to a higher state of well-being. And I feel like more than ever we need more freedom of speech, freedom of scope of practice for the location and correction of vertebral subluxation. That's what this conversation is built upon. It's not for me, it's not for you, it's for the people that deserve to be under care. So I'm all in. I'm here.
Well, thank you for being with us today.
So tell us your chiropractic story and what originally influenced you to become a chiropractor.
Yeah, that's a common question. I feel I've heard enough to give you a real quick overview, but give you enough detail to keep you interested. Just like most chiropractors, I had a chiropractic experience, except mine wasn't with a major injury per se. It was me getting dragged in to see a chiropractor when I was in high school by my grandma. My grandma was seeing a chiropractor, and she noticed a big improvement with her quality of life, and the light lit for her, and it was a no-brainer to invite her daughter and her grandkids into the same practice setting. And so as a freshman in high school, it only took me a few visits to realize a drastic improvement in my focus, my performance at school, in sports. I played high school football and needed any extra help I could get from the wear and tear on the game days. So spent 4 years seeing my chiropractor. I would actually drive to go see him before school would open, and just fell in love with the performance of my quality of life from the adjustments, and went off to college. And when it was time to choose what to further my degree, and it was me looking back on the past and seeing what had the greatest impact on my quality of life, and it was a no-brainer from there. So chose a local university here in Minnesota, Northwestern Health Sciences University, and jumped in with very little understanding of chiropractic, and left with a full degree, and here we are today.
Yeah, and I know you're doing some pretty profound things now with helping other people with their chiropractic clinics, not just checking and detecting and adjusting vertebral subluxations, but you're helping that en masse now. And you're up to supporting 9 different offices up there and one in Wisconsin. Would you like to share a little bit about that vision and how you've kind of planted all that?
Yeah. So when I was in, that's a great question. Sometimes you forget how fast time has gone and all that's taken place. When I was in school, about halfway through at Northwestern, a gentleman by the name of Reggie Gold came and spoke in our auditorium, and had an open invite after his letter and lecture to come out and spend the weekend with him and Irene in Philadelphia to talk chiropractic and to spend time with local chiropractors in that Philadelphia, New Jersey area. And so myself and a few other students took him up, spent the weekend out there hanging out with Reggie, Irene, and Joe Strauss, Mark Olstein, just some really great chiropractors that have been in the game for a long time, and fell in love with their practice approach. A lot of them out there were using a very old collection process. Some people still use it in the profession. It's called GPC. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that, but it's a guide-patient centered collection where people just literally put cash into a box and you don't see how much they're putting it in. And some people leave $20 a visit. Some people leave $200 a visit, depending upon what their value on the care was. And it was like eye-opening experience for me to see what a practice could look like if you had a service-orientated approach rather than a slavery-orientated approach where someone else is telling you what you can charge and how much to charge and when to see them. And so I came back to Minnesota and started working on my business model. And it wasn't long before I had some local colleagues catch an eye of what I was doing in Minnesota. And Michael Madison knocked on my door and said, I want to do what you're doing. I just want to practice in that same city that you're practicing in. So I asked my wife to leave her full-time job, and we started a second company, and we started a franchise company, and we started opening up more locations from 2011 on. And we've really just been referral grown. We haven't done any marketing, any advertising to bring on new locations. We've just spent the last 10 years perfecting the systems and the operations so that we've got the infrastructure to handle the growth as we continue to expand. So it's been a fun journey so far. We're just getting started.
Yeah, just getting started in a decade. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So decade 2, what's that look like for you?
Decade 2 is doing more of what we've been doing. I finally am in a position where I've got a good second set of hands to help me in my practice. I still own a practice. I still practice full time. And so my game plan is to spend more time making chiropractor adjustments than people adjustments. I want to help more students. I want to mentor more students. I want to mentor more graduating docs that want to open up practice right from the scratch and show them all the potential and possibility that's waiting for them when they jump into it. You know, sometimes you just gotta jump in the lake regardless of how cold it is, instead of putting your toes in to see what the temp is. And that's gonna kind of be the name of the game here: is find more leaders and find more chiropractors that want to jump into a proven system that's working well for us.
Come on now, you're talking to me like you're from Minnesota.
You got to use some sort of local analogy.
Because I know you guys probably don't have too many warm lakes.
It's a short window, very short window.
Yeah, that's probably the truth. Growing up in Iowa, we're lucky to have much better weather than Minnesota.
Yeah. I agree.
But yeah, I really admire you for what you're doing, and I think it's really essential for people to have good leadership and good camaraderie and that type of a unification with the idea of moving forward and doing great work together instead of saying go do it on your own and we're against each other. I think that when you think about chiropractic in the future, I want to see one more unified, and I think you're doing a really great job of laying down the new road for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I spent most of my life playing sports, and went on and played college football for the University of Minnesota Duluth, and realized a few things from it, and that is you got to have a playbook. You can't go in and beat the next team without a playbook, and plays change and playbooks change, and you got to be able to have that ability to adapt to change for that playbook, and you need to have a team atmosphere in what it takes to making those plays work, because you can't do it alone. I mean, there's a few solo sports out there, but for the most part, I think athletics teach us a lot. And I just heard this quote the other day that comes to mind right now. And that is, the greatest athletes only were there because they had the greatest competitors pushing them, and teammates alongside them, helping them shine at what they were great at. And that's my viewpoint on chiropractic. Is it's not easy being in practice. I spent 1 year working by myself in solo practice before we franchised, and it's lonely and it's challenging. Marketing is ever changing, and not to mention that, but most, if not all, students are graduating from school with a limited hands-on degree more now than ever in being perfectionists in the art of chiropractic. So I think the mentorship on how to locate, analyze, and correct subluxation is a necessary evil, not only when you graduate, but throughout practice, to making sure that you're compliant with the current trends and the current understanding of chiropractic. And so teamwork to me is the only way to do it. I love what I do as a franchise, and I love what I do as a chiropractor working alongside my colleagues, knowing that we're working together.
Well, from reading your bio earlier, it said that you told me that you played college football and you played on defense. And I think that I've had some questions lately about like vanity metrics, which are like, numbers, and the bigger the numbers, the better. Well, with defense, defense wins championships, offense wins games. And I think you coming in from a defensive standpoint, that's why you're winning championships and not just games.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I think that's a really good point, and worth talking about for a minute. You have to score, right? You need an all-star quarterback in order to win, because they have that leadership role to keep everyone moving together. But the defense wins championships, and it does in practice by not making big mistakes. And so what I've learned is for every failure I've encountered personally, I can document that failure and what didn't work. And I can create a game plan to either preventing that failure or having a solution for what happens when that happens to the chiropractor. And so it actually costs less as a chiropractor to be working alongside colleagues. So if you have a practice management coach, you pay someone to train you, you name anyone that's out there helping you, for whatever you're paying them, they're actually saving you money in the long run through a defensive strategy of preventing those big costly mistakes that it costs you more than what it costs to have a playbook.
So how do you think the world would change if everyone started going to the chiropractor when needed?
That's a big question. I don't know if we got enough time to answer that. I think if you put everyone into a chiropractor's office, first we would need more chiropractors. So we've got a problem not having enough hands to meet the needs. I don't even know how many people are around the world right now, but I know that we don't have enough chiropractors out there. So let's change that question and add to it and say, what do we got to do to get more students signed up at those universities, such as Sherman College of Chiropractic, that promote chiropractic? You know, if we want to see, I say this in practice, if you want to see more new clients, then you got to be ready for that opportunity to even exist. You can't be only open 10 hours out of the week and expect to see 20 new clients that week. And so to answer your question, which is, it's a very philosophical and great question, Luke, we need more chiropractors. We need more training. We need more mentorship. But if you took all the chiropractors that were out there and flooded their practices with people, and they all got adjusted, then the next part of that question, or answer to that question, would be, what are we going to do to keep them under care? Because we all know one chiropractic adjustment is like a cup out of the ocean. It's not enough. You need to flood the consistency on the minds of the consumer more now than ever due to stress levels. And so if every person that was able to see a chiropractor got adjusted and consistently got adjusted, then the final part of that answer would be, we wouldn't have enough time to even see what would happen, because we all know that the deviation away from health and wholeness takes years and sometimes generations to even see. We've seen that in the pharmaceutical industry, where moms will be taking medication for alleviating sickness or nausea, and they don't see the effects until the babies are born or the second generation. And so the same needs to be applicable in our profession. It's going to take us generations of consistent chiropractic adjustments to even see the effects, which then therefore would be the final answer for you, Luke, which would be, we would see a whole lot of nothing, I think. And that's the greatest answer. Sometimes I get to say to students asking me, what's a practice like this, you know, where your clients, I've got clients that have seen me for 10 years on a weekly basis. Every week they come in and they ask, you know, what's it like? And it's like, well, we spend a lot of time talking about sport and hunting and camping and hiking, you name it, because there isn't much else to talk about, because their body's expressing a more normal state of tone and function. And that's that, you know, things come up, but it's not as climatic as you think it would, or climatic as you think it would be. How's that for a not long answer?
That's a good one. We haven't had that one yet.
No, and I really appreciate the length of the answer too, because when I think about it, I'll tell you one thing that would change is there'd be a whole lot less confusion with chiropractor to chiropractor, because they'd be too busy for it. And
amen. Yeah.
and there'd be a whole lot less social media posting, because chiropractors would be having their hands on patients rather than cell phones and computers.
Correct. 100%. 100%. I've actually experienced that in my 10 years of practice. I've had times where I can go months without being engaged with other activities because I'm too busy in practice. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and that's just it, is when you're in the field of service, you should be in the field of service. And that's just it, is that's why you have to build teams around you and insulate yourself with people that manage other stuff like your media outlets. And you have to have teams around you that manage, you know, your strategy of new patient generation. And you have to manage, you know, the phones and the leads and the internal referrals and how things happen. And that's really the chiropractic business part. And I think when you start to fall in love with the chiropractic profession, you fall in love with all of that. And
Correct.
when you catch on to that, you can't wait to share that with more people. And that's really why I was really excited to have this interview with you today, because that is the essence of you. Like, you fell in love with all of that. And then you said, well, how can I get this to more people?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what you're talking about rings a bell of what Reggie Gold used to always say in his audios and in person. Reggie would always say, "Don't be the jack of all trades." And the problem that we face as a chiropractic culture is, I believe we have a lot of bright minds. We have a lot of entrepreneurs at heart, and we've got so much passion to give into our communities that we dibble dabble in so much, we lose our focus and we lose our scope and we lose our ability to be the exact opposite of jack of all trade. And to me, that's mastery, just falling in love with repetition. I mean, over the past 10 years, I've kept track on how many adjustments I've delivered in my community here. And they far outweigh a million chiropractic adjustments in 10 years due to the fact that that's all I've done. I haven't done, I mean, everything else is someone else helping me do what I'm focused on doing, and then being able to share that with other colleagues and to watch them become more of a master at what they do is pretty humbling.
Well, it's another sports analogy. When you take out your eye off the ball, you miss it.
Correct.
And
Correct.
It doesn't matter what sport you're playing. When you take your eye off the ball, you miss it. And if you take your eye off of chiropractic, you miss it.
Correct.
And I think that when you have your eye on chiropractic, you catch it and you deliver it. And that's a part that, becoming a master of is something that's highly valuable. And I think some people just they need some type of a leadership inside of their heart and say that this is what I'm supposed to focus on. And then when they take their eye off of it, that's when, like you said, it costs more money. And if you do things out of sequence and you don't do it the right way, you have to go back and repeat those steps.
Yeah. All of what you just said, Jim, makes me think of accountability. And back to the sports analogy again about having a coach, making sure that you're out of your bed at 4 a.m. Before we got on here, you said that you were up early in the morning. I'm with you. I wake up 5 days out of the week, 4 a.m. every weekday to get my priorities done so that I can help those that I need to hold accountable to. And I think as a profession, we need not only more leaders holding our profession to the accountability test, but we need more participation across the board of the willingness of being held accountable, because that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, and that is, are you willing to let someone help you? Are you willing to let someone share some advice? Like what you're doing on this podcast. You bring all these people in here to share the knowledge and the wisdom that's currently out there. But if you don't have listeners, then you're falling on deaf ears. And our profession, our students need to be willing to be held accountable, because with accountability comes results, keeping your eye on the ball.
So where do you see chiropractic going in the next 20 years or so?
That's a good question. And I think to give you a fair answer, I have no idea. and it really kind of feels like an applicable analogy right now more than ever is chiropractic is similar to politics, with having a left side and a right side. We really have two different viewpoints within the profession, and then we've got a majority that's in the middle. And I'm sure not much will change in the next 20 years, just like not much has changed politically other than some new laws and some new regulations. And I'm sure we're going to have more of that than ever before. So if you're a student listening to this, that should give you more encouragement to be in the self-pay cash practice model than ever before, because with more regulations and more restrictions comes less or a higher overhead and less return on your investment. And besides the more regulations within the industry across the board, I think it really depends upon us as a profession finding new ways to communicate the chiropractic message, similar to what you guys are doing here. It needs to be a collective, cohesive effort to making sure more people get introduced to chiropractic before they have the injury, before they have the sprain strain, and they're walking in with back pain and expecting the pain to be diminished over the next 12 visits and then stopping care after they feel better. There needs to be more collective effort to teach people that they're living with subluxation on a day-to-day basis, and visiting the chiropractor for the proper location and analysis and correction is going to be in their best interest, because it's a proactive healthcare choice that we know as a society costs less and has greater return on investment.
Really sound advice there, and really sound vision. Now, I'm going to ask you something that's off the script, just because I think that you stirred up some coals with me.
I prefer off the script. Yeah, let's go. I love off the script.
So when you think of where the chiropractic profession is going in 20 years, you said you don't know, but you have an idea of what could happen based on restrictions and that course. Now, I've seen that there's been a trend within chiropractic universities, colleges, taking chiropractic out of the title of their school. What is your assessment on that? And do you think that's a good thing?
Yeah, another good quote comes to mind from Reggie Gold. He would always say questions like that. He would almost defer, and he would say, I don't deal with policy. I deal with procedure. To be honest, I really, I'm not at the position in my career to focus on the political side right now. And I believe that the school setting is at the forefront of politics. We have great leaders, like all the staff at Sherman College of Chiropractic, that are taking the political forefront for our profession. And I would defer to just say, you know what, we've got a battle out on the trenches right now within the profession that we have to take, and that is getting more people under chiropractic care. Because the moment we get to that point where we've got people knocking on our doors and we're too busy to take them, now you're going to start seeing political policy changing at that school setting, because we need more chiropractors, and we need them now, and we need them properly trained. We're just not there.
Yeah, well, that's a fair answer. And you know, I personally, me not being a chiropractor, Luke not being a chiropractor, I have a whole different, vision of that. And, I'm not in politics either. We're in journalism, but we actually, touch a lot of lives with what we do. And we meet a lot of amazing people with the work that we produce. So I've always been curious about people that have vision for the profession and what it means to, change the titles of schools based on what's popular at the moment, and, seeing, the trend. And I've seen that trend happening over the past couple of years. And some of them are like starting to like hit the brakes and go back. And they're like, oh, well, maybe we should put Chiropractic College back into our school instead of just calling it a health sciences department, which
I think you're right, Jim, because 5 years ago, I tried knocking on the local university to let me mentor students, and got the door shoved in my face. And just last year, I knocked again and got accepted in. And with this is the first year where I've had students mentor underneath my license through the school setting. And that to me is promising, because that to me says there might be less political choices being made and more practical procedural choices that are taking place for the students, which we need. I agree with you.
So maybe you could tell us who have been some of your heroes on your chiropractic journey, and maybe some of your childhood heroes before you became a chiropractor.
Yeah, that's a great question. Luke, I would say, well, without a doubt, my first chiropractor gave me a vision of what I could do for where I was to practice in the future. And so Dr. Guy Anderson is definitely on that list, which led me into the profession through a friend. I've got some colleagues by the name of Godfreys. All the Godfreys are heroes to me because they are on their second generation family-owned chiropractic practice in a small town here in Minnesota, Alexandria, Minnesota. And they made me realize that this can be a family heritage. Not that my kids have to be involved in chiropractic, but at least you're offering the opportunity for your kids to walk into a family heritage, which my wife and her family has been doing as well for the past 3 generations in their residential remodeling and construction company. So I've got the people that kind of led me to the profession. And then once I got into school, the rest is history. Once I met Reggie Gold, spent time with Irene. Irene is one of the strongest female chiropractors I have ever met within the profession. To A, be married to Reggie, and B, to do what she's done for all those students that have gone through her training for national NBC boards. She does that for the profession so that we can get more chiropractors into the profession and not stopped at that failure rate or that national board exam roadblock. And then not to mention Joe Strauss, Joe D'Onofrio. The D'Onofrios are phenomenal family heritage there in the Sherman teaching setting as well. Joe D'Onofrio Jr. And then, you've got the unsung heroes of all my franchisees that inspire me to make the system better. If you don't have someone that you're helping inspire you to help them, then you got to find someone to help, because I think it doesn't always have to be us looking up to the bookshelf with someone that's written a book or produce a podcast to inspire you. Sometimes finding someone that you can help will teach you what you don't know or what you do know, because if you're not giving them the proper information, you therefore realize that you've got to go back to the books and you got to teach yourself more on a higher level. So I think that list is short and sweet, but you also got people like Mark Romano that are just animals in the profession, practicing 7 days a week. The list could go on. We could sit here and talk about all the greats that are out there. You've got a lot of local new greats coming up in the woodwork as well, where you see things taking place within the profession that we probably haven't seen since maybe the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when there was more passion for chiropractic before we all got involved in the insurance game.
So have you ever tried any marketing that just didn't work at all?
Yeah, I think I laugh because I think if you're going to ask any chiropractor, what they do for marketing, most, if not all, chiropractors would say, I've done it all. And that's kind of that's another political issue. We should have more national advertising and state level organizations promoting our practices instead of us individually promoting it. But I think the easiest answer, Luke, would be the short game on marketing just doesn't work unless you're a different type of chiropractor than I am. I have a practice designed on lifetime client service. So I tell people that they should be seeing a chiropractor for the rest of their life to get their spine analyzed and checked, and then adjusted if necessary. And so me, I market towards my client base, and that's a consistent marketing approach rather than a short term. So just before we hopped on here, I was flipping through Facebook, just waiting a few minutes before you came on. And I think I saw 2 or 3 different ads from companies advertising towards chiropractors saying, come pay us and we'll give you 15 to 20 new clients in 30 days. And I have nothing wrong with marketing and saying that you can get new clients, because I think we need more of that. But what I do have advice on is don't always go for the short game. Sometimes you got to create a marketing program that's built around brand identity. And that's no different than what, the icon McDonald's has done. What do? They just, McDonald's and Coca-Cola, they just advertise over and over and over and over. And a lot of times they advertise and they don't even ask for anything. They just say, drink this Coke, it makes you happy and it tastes good. And I don't think I have ever seen a chiropractic advertisement that is just like, get adjusted, your body will be happy and healthier. Like it and not say, come in, I got a special for a new special, come in right now. And so the needy and the wanty advertisement can almost backfire, because then you got clients coming into your practice that they just want the quick fix. Just get me out of pain, and then I'm going to be out of here, and you won't see me ever again. And that to me is a more costly advertisement than we all know.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, because that's what hustle's all about. Is we just keep on putting out more content and keep getting out to the viewers and keep putting our message out there to more and more people. And we do a holistic style of advertising, which is storytelling. And when
Correct.
you tell stories to the public, you start to captivate an audience. And this podcast is always about telling the story. And, when I first saw the early Reggie Gold videos, a guy changed my life. And I never met Reggie. And it's been really cool to hear you give some of your early understanding of why you do things the way you do, is because you went to the Reggie School of knowledge. And, some people never had that opportunity to meet somebody that was so integral to what chiropractic stands on today. And, when we created Hustle, it was always about how can we feature someone else to tell this chiropractic story? How can we feature someone else to keep, the old boys, they would always say, tell the story, tell the story, tell the story. And I think that goes back to Sid Williams and, the DE days when they were like early upstart. And, as I got to know Luke and I've only been doing I've only been in the profession for 12 years. But we've only been doing Hustle now for 3 years. But the whole initiative around this was to keep free speech in chiropractic and to shine a spotlight on the chiropractor and to let them tell how they became who they are. And it's almost like the making of the chiropractic profession one by one. And it gives people a snapshot of the history of the documentation of who the chiropractor is. And, it doesn't take long to listen to, 10 episodes and realize that we have a cohesive approach, which is to get the chiropractic message out to more people. So when your 9 clinics listen to this episode and their practice members listen to this episode, they're really going to know who you are. And that's a great part about this type of platform, is this can be shared, it can be seen, it can be heard, it can be distributed, and it can be, sent in emails, it can be spliced up, it can be repurposed. Like there's so many things that are viable with what we do with this platform of the interview that is going to make the brand of chiropractic get better and better. Just like you said, with the Coca-Cola and the McDonald's. I don't know if that's who I want to become with our brand, but I want Chiro Hustle to be that type of strength within the profession in the next decade.
That's great. I applaud you for what you guys are doing and for being involved in the profession when you're not chiropractors. That speaks volumes to your passion for the profession. We need more. We need hundreds more of you out there promoting what a chiropractic adjustment can do to someone's quality of life. So I applaud you, and I'm happy to be here. I would be on this episode on this podcast every week if you needed me in order to promote more chiropractic. It's just ingrained in me. I don't know why. It's a fire I can't get rid of. And sometimes my wife yells at me because it becomes such a strong passion of mine to help more people, because it does make a difference, and it gets better with time. So, the consistency approach is definitely necessary in practice.
And we just, like Gon said, we just have to keep turning the crank.
Correct. Efficiently without burning out. You don't want to burn out.
So what are some things that you like to do when you're not adjusting people? What are some of your hobbies, and what do you like to listen to or read?
Yeah, everything I do when I'm not working is in preparation for what I do while I'm working. So I spend a lot of time reading, and I spend a lot of time listening to audios, and then I spend a ton of time working out. I just looked at my iPhone. I think it's been 2 years now where I've worked out every day of the week, and at least 20 to 30 minutes of consistent, like, let's get after it. And so to me, my passion resides with making sure that I'm able to do what I need to do at work, which kind of correlates to why I'm working. I'm working for my family. I want to spend time with my kids when I'm older. I don't want to be working till I'm 80. I want to be working if I want to at 80, but not because I have to. And so it's kind of like this cycle where I spend my time while I'm not working, prepping myself physically and mentally, so that when I am working, I put in 10 to 12-hour days. Back when I graduated, it was easily 80 hours a week to get my practice up and running. And that was so that 10 years down, I could trim that down. And then 10 years down, I can trim that down. So my passion outside of the profession is health and well-being and good relationships with family and friends.
Great advice. And I'm sure everybody can glean a little bit off of that intensity and that intention and that vision. And I think that a lot of people, the reason that they don't become what they're supposed to is because they drift, and they allow themselves to have like zones where they just don't produce, and where they get lost and they lose their traction, and they start living in a headspace that tells them that they're not good enough. They start living in that headspace of I need something to like make me better. Well, people have to make themselves better, and they have to set routines for themselves, and they have to really pay attention to their time and their relationships, and they have to pay attention to what matters to them the most. And if there's anything I heard through this entire interview with you, is pay attention to what matters to you the most, and great things will happen.
Amen. That's awesome. Yeah. And vice versa. It just keep the message going, keep the chiropractors talking, and I look forward to seeing you guys at some events. I missed last year. I love seeing the red carpet, velvet rope. Hey, we're at this event doing this. I'm an event guy. I love chiropractic events. I think it's an opportunity for all of us to take the work cap off and spend more time with each other instead of working in the practice. And I missed seeing that last year from you guys. So hopefully in the new year, we get to see some more events popping up. I know that I'll give a shout out coming up in June. I'll be at Mile High event on June, I believe it's 6th, 7th, 8th, and Danny Knowles is really focused in on making the profession more in tune with the art of chiropractic. So if you're listening to this and you haven't checked out Mile High yet 2021, look into it. There's my one plug. I'll be there, and I hope to see you guys there as well.
I'll definitely be there.
And what are excuse me, what are some of your websites if people want to go check out you and what you're doing?
Yeah, I get yelled at by my team. I got one too many websites. You could go to chiroway.com. That's our main website. And then we also have a branch off website for more information on our franchise, which is franchise.chiroway.com. But there's a link on that main site as well. I've got a webpage. I've got a website, TrentScheidecker.com, where my podcast is currently being housed, which is Today's Tick. So if you want to dive further into the conversation with me online, you can check out Today's Tick. And then just recently, I was handed off with a specific request by Nick Spano to take the baton for advanced muscle palpation, which is an analytical tool for locating and analyzing vertebral subluxation. It's a tonal approach, soft tissue with a hands-on adjustment. And so if you go to advancedmusclepalpation.com or you look on Facebook, you'll see that information out there as well. So we've got lots of stuff going on, all showing you kind of a glimpse of our passion for chiropractic.
Well, Dr. Trent, thank you so much for being our guest today. Thank you for allowing us some resources to where people can find you and get to know you better, and if they want to work with you. And I think it's been a great episode today with you, and episode 245 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. And we just want to have you have a great rest of your day. And thank you for spending some time with us.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for lighting the torch, and keep it coming. Freedom of speech on chiropractic. It's a mission that needs to be shared across the country and across the world. So keep it coming. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you guys in June.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
We'll see you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.